Well, one of the men that brought Dina Pule to book was the ANC's Parliamentary Ethics Committee Chairperson, Turok. He joins us on the line now. Good evening, Mr. Turok. Well, you heard those strong words by Thuli Madonsela earlier: nepotism, dishonesty, wasteful expenditure, and she's also called on cabinet ministers and provincial leaders to attend ethics classes. Do you think she's right?
Well, I'm not sure about the classes, but certainly we do need to take much more seriously briefing officials and, if you like, even ministers on the code of conduct that they are required to observe. Now, we have a code of conduct in Parliament, in the Ethics Committee, and indeed we are producing a new version which is now being discussed and we hope adopted in the new year.
Is this new version the one that Madonsela called for in June from Parliament, this establishment of a transverse ethics code where everyone who basically has a role in government speak from the same page?
No, there are two documents that really affect ministers. If you're talking about ministers at the moment, there are two documents. Because ministers are members of Parliament, the code of conduct of the Ethics Committee applies to them. And indeed, in the case of Pule, it was exactly that code that we used in making judgment on her conduct. But there's also the ministerial handbook, which is being rewritten. I'm not sure when it will be finalized. And the ministerial handbook also has a code of conduct which ministers have to comply with. That is supervised by the presidency and the DG and the various officials in the presidency. However, there's another matter which I have to draw your attention to, and that is that there is the Constitution, which lays down all sorts of values and standards that everybody has to observe, including the President and all the ministers and indeed the whole of South Africa.
Well, this is a gathering of some pretty stiff guidelines, Mr. Turok, but they clearly don't seem to be working. When you look at the regularity with which public officials are found to be contravening not only ethics but misusing state funds, what's your assessment of the state of ethics of trusted public officials right now in South Africa?
Well, we do have a number of studies. I don't want to give you my subjective view, but there are a number of studies. For example, the Public Service Commission has produced reports on the disclosures by senior public officials, and they have shown us that something like 25% of senior public officials actually refuse to disclose their business interests. And then, of course, you've had the Auditor General's reports, which again report. And there are other reports. So we do know roughly the scale of wrongdoing which is going on and which is clearly unacceptable. In my own case in Parliament, we are pretty severe on any reports. And by the way, let me say right away that we do read the press very carefully to see where there are serious disclosures of misconduct and ethical misconduct, and we then, if the case is strong, we make an inquiry. Yeah. And we have a registrar in Parliament who investigates those matters.
Right. Mr. Turok, when can we expect, do you think, Dina Pule to apologize to Parliament?
Oh, she has already done so.
Well, the Public Protector today calling for an apology again?
Well, I haven't read the report, so but Dina Pule, former minister, was made to stand up in the House by the Speaker, and he reprimanded her, and she replied that she apologized. There was a small qualification in her apology, which actually I didn't hear because I was sitting a bit far away from her. But the press reported that she said, "I apologize if I have done anything wrong."
All right, we'll leave it there, Mr. Turok. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciated. Parliament's Ethics Committee Chairperson, Turok. And Newsnight is in conversation with the Public Protector at 6:30.
Know more about your world.
eNCA.com.